So I'm going to start with a very, very simple question. What got you started? Why did you start a label? Benjamin, you want to start?
At the beginning, I really started for myself because I just thought that it was necessary for an artist also to work as independent production, and it was very important for me to do that. And then now it's making like 8 years that the label is I'm running this label, and I was always involved into music, and I always wanted to make some records. So we started by doing vinyl and like pirates, doing lots of bootlegs and things like that. And then we start by clearing rights because it was normal to do it, and then releasing some artists and work on projects for the long term, because this is what we can do when you're independent right now, working on albums and career artists.
So, and how do you see your role? Do you call yourself the prime minister or the?
They call me president.
Okay. And do you feel president?
No, I'm just feel more like what interesting me is like developing these projects, and also I'm doing more the A&R. Mm-hmm. I have a partner who is taking part of all the management of the label, but for me, I am always interested by music and discovering different things every day. So this is what I'm trying to find. Also, when I go on MySpace or things like that, trying to find some exciting music.
Gary, what got you started? Was it because there was a lack of structure around you, or because you had the entrepreneur feel?
Well, I think the entrepreneurial spirit and looking for an outlet for it. My wife is Alison Brown. She's a Grammy-winning acoustic instrumentalist, and when we started the company, or had the idea to start the company, we were touring with another artist, and on some level found that unfulfilling. She's got a business background, an MBA, and investment banking background, and I had a production background, and we thought, first of all, that independent label or independent artists could be served better by artist-friendly labels and label models that took into consideration their needs and their goals and had a sense for that. Who better than artists, and in a perfect scenario, someone with a production background and someone with a business background could make it work. We had our own experiences with other labels, and we just felt like there had to be a better way.
Mm-hmm. How did you split the duties between you and your wife? As the MBA, did she take on all the management stuff and left you with the A&R side?
Well, we sort of describe it as, I don't mind talking on the phone, and she hates to talk on the phone. So I deal with the artist and distributors, and she deals with the financial side of things. But in all seriousness, she's much smarter than I am, and it's better to leave her doing the books and just telling me what I can spend.
Mm-hmm. And how much do you still have time to play music and perform and do concerts?
We tour between 40 and 50 shows a year, some international touring, some festivals, and a lot of performing arts centers and festivals in the States.
And the name of the label, Compass Records?
It just seemed to fit, It came to me in a vision and kind of stuck, and then all of a sudden it was there before we had time to think about whether it was a good name or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ben, when did you start feeling that you had that entrepreneur spirit and you wanted to do something?
I think when I was a teenager, I was always as obsessed by the aesthetic of labels as I was by the music. I grew up in the era of like factory records, and I used to love the artwork as much as I loved the music. And I think in the back of my mind, although I then spent 15, 20 years making music with Tracy, there was always something in the back of my mind that thought that one day I would do the label, because I like the idea of being that sort of selfish curator, if you like, where you just impose your taste on people. Everything from the website to the artwork, and in many ways it's not that different from being a DJ, in the sense that you are a selector and an editor of artists and other people, and you piece them together, and it's called a record label.
Tell us about the difference between the two labels. You know, Buzzin Fly is more techno, dance.
Well, I mean, Buzzing Fly came directly out of my experiences as a DJ. I ran a little underground Sunday club in London called Lazy Dog, and we were constantly being sent great tracks that never seemed to come out. And then I actually made a track myself specifically just for club play on a Sunday night. I had no other aspiration for it. And I made 50 white label copies of it and sent them around a few DJ friends of mine. And the next thing I know, I had a phone call from somebody who said that it was on sale in New York. And I thought, well, I only made 50. And it transpired that one of the white labels had actually been bootlegged and 1,500 copies had been made of it. And I was just astonished. And I think that was the trigger that made me start the label. I got control back of the track, and it became the first single on Buzzing Fly.
Simon, when did you start thinking, well, maybe after all I could do a label on my own?
About 4 years after we started the label, I thought that probably. Seriously, I mean, we began the label really as a place to release our own music. Robin and I set the label up together with the idea of releasing Cocteau Twins music, but 6 months after we set the label up, the band broke up, so we had a label and no band. So
and time for yourself.
Yeah, and we had a studio, and we had all this fantastic facilities, and it seemed, well, we should probably try and do something, even though we knew not the first thing about running a record label. But I think actually that's a strength, because I think in life you learn more about the bad things you see in other situations that make you understand how you might want to do something yourself. And I think if I learnt anything from the bad experiences at 4AD and Mercury, was not how to run a record label. I wanted to have a home where people could feel like I would have liked to have felt, because I think most young artists, when they sign to a label, they're not really interested in, in the money and the deal and the contract and, having people suggest a million producers. And what they really want is just somebody that just listens and understands and encourages them at the right time and lets them do their own thing. That's I think our role as independent labels is not to put too much of our own personality into the music that the bands make,